Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Doble, and in front of me here are two drones. This is the DJI Mini 3 and this is the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Today I'm going to be telling you which one you should get because you can get them for around the same price if you get a used or refurbished Mini 3 Pro or a brand new DJI Mini 3. First, I think it's important to identify yourself as either a professional or just a hobbyist when it comes to drone flying. If you're a hobbyist, I can tell you right away, look at the DJI Mini 3, but don't get a new one. You can get a refurbished one from DJI store and it's practically brand spanking new.
Every bit of it's brand spanking new.
Now the reason I recommend that for non-professionals is just because this drone does everything you need and more as just a hobbyist. Now honestly, even as a professional, you could use the Mini 3, you just have to understand what limitations this will impose on you, which this drone may allow you to have. If you know that you don't need slow motion footage in 4K, so 4K 60 frames per second, which is only available in the Mini 3 Pro, the Mini 3 can still totally get the job done.
Yeah, get your job done!
So starting with similarities, they both pretty much look exactly the same. The Mini 3 has little legs at the front here, which this one does not on the Pro, but it doesn't really matter. If you look up close though, you can see that the Mini 3 Pro has sensors going all the way around. So you've got front sensors here, you've got rear sensors back here on the rear, you've got sensors at the bottom. Just the basic Mini 3 doesn't have any sensors on the front, no sensors that face the back, and the sensors at the bottom I think are just for landing. They aren't actually collision sensors, so there is that. But honestly, if you're a beginner, I would still recommend the DJI Mini 3 even though it doesn't have any sensors, because if you get DJI Care, you can replace your drone for, it might be $35 or $39, I can't remember exactly, the price is right here. To be honest, these sensors have caused me more issues than good, because I was trying to fly one time through this one little, it was like a square thing at an event. It was like a little bar area and I wanted to do like a grand reveal. Now because of these sensors, they suddenly realized that, oh my gosh, we're really close to the bottom, but it didn't realize that we're really close to the top either. So it decided to fly itself up automatically to prevent crashing.
I'm gonna crash.
But really what that did is just hit the top and then it started falling down, and yeah, it was rough. Now that's just one example, one case scenario of that happening. However, that has happened to me multiple times with this drone. I was just trying to be a little bit more creative than the sensors expected, and it just tried saving me, but it ended up causing more harm than good. That's why, for beginners, I would still just recommend this. There's no sensors on there, so there's not going to be any weird confusion. If you hit something, it's because you actually did it, not because the sensors got confused and caused a crash. Now, the sensors could be helpful, and they have been before, but still, I would recommend no sensors, especially if you're a beginner and you don't know when to use them, when not to use them, that kind of thing. Let's talk about cameras now though. These are basically exactly the same gimbals, so your footage is going to be stabilized exactly the same. You could also do vertical video, true vertical video, where your camera actually rotates to be 9:16 instead of 16:9. So that's really cool with both of these, and you could do social media content for clients or for yourself. Now both of these also have the same exact sensor size, but they are different sensors inside of there. So this is a 12 megapixel sensor and this is a 48 megapixel sensor. Now with the DJI Mini 3 Pro, you also do get a higher ISO. You can go to ISO 6400 where you can only go to 3200 with this guy. If you're shooting low light, that could be beneficial. It depends on what you're shooting. For me, I don't really shoot at night, so it doesn't really matter to me, but for you, it could, so it depends on your use case. The Mini 3 Pro shoots 150 megabits per second, where this only shoots 100. This is where it starts to differentiate between the professional user and the more beginner user. With 150 megabits per second, you have more leeway in editing and color grading, whereas with just 100 megabits, you're a little bit more stuck to what is shot. With that extra bitrate, you also have less compression artifacts.
What artifact?
Now, to be honest, there isn't much artifacting going on here, and there's still plenty of room to edit your footage. It's just having a little bit of extra leeway space on top of this is always a nice to have. So for professionals, it starts looking a little bit better over here. Now you have active track and a whole bunch of different tracking modes, master shots, that kind of thing with this drone here as well, which you don't get over here. That helps aid you with some different drone shots, and I think it looks really, really, really clean. They look super professional, and it basically does it automatically, which is super nice. The thing is, I ended up learning how to do that myself after some practice, so I ended up getting this drone as a backup instead of a second Mini 3 Pro, because I kind of don't use those master shots anymore. I just do them myself. It still is a nice to have though. Sometimes you can just set up a master shot and start doing other things at the same time, so you can kind of multitask with your drone, which is a really nice to have for professionals. So that's another thumbs up for this.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
As a non-professional, those master shots might be nice to have as well though. So if you want the drone to follow you as you're running, or if you want to select an object and then move your drone around and it will automatically track the camera on that object, it could be really cool for beginners as well, but it is still possible to do it manually with this one. So if you're able to save a little bit of money by going with this, and you're not going to make use of the other things that come on top of this drone, all the additional technology, then it's still, I would still recommend this more for the beginner than this. Now, something else that the DJI Mini 3 Pro offers over the DJI Mini 3 is better transmission quality.
Transmitting what?
So there should in theory be reduced latency, which to be honest I haven't really seen the difference, but also improved quality of transmission. So you get full HD transmission here, where here you only get 720p, and that is something that I noticed. Is it huge? Not really, but as a professional, it does help. Now, how this helped me in one case is I flew the drone up, and if you're shooting real estate, you're not supposed to have the real estate agent's sign in it. And I did see the agent's sign just a little bit. I don't know if I would have seen that in 720p. I did see it in 1080p, and I was like, oh shoot, right, I gotta move that sign. So it did help out there. Okay, so now one place where this drone does shine ahead of this one is the battery life. This has 38 minutes of runtime, whereas this has only 34 on the standard battery. Does it make that much of a difference? Maybe, but there's something that you gotta consider.
Have you considered this?
When you take off your drone, get to the position that you want it, that takes some time, and then same for it to come back to the position and land. With the extra 4 minutes, you basically have 34 minutes of true runtime, whereas with this, you only have closer to 30 minutes.
Wow.
I know, still not that big of a difference, but every little extra bit of juice helps. So personally, I have flown both of these drones. This one I got after this one. I got the DJI Mini 3 Pro basically as soon as it came out. Literally the day that it came out, I placed an order on this thing, and I've used them I've used them extensively for professional work. This is my second one, and I'm waiting to get my third one. This is my first DJI Mini 3, but hopefully I'm not gonna have to get other ones. Hopefully it doesn't crash or anything like that. This one has seen quite a beating. I don't know if you can tell, but the propellers are kind of messed up. These are my second set of propellers too on this guy here. The gimbal is also, there should be like a cover on the back, and it's just exposed wires. Multiple crashes on that guy, but it's still working like a champ. This one I got because I wanted to have a spare secondary drone in case anything happened to this one. Say you're on a shoot, something that's a really big deal. Yesterday I was shooting a luxury listing, and you don't want to create a bad impression, especially if it's your first time working with that client. To have a second drone on me if anything happened wrong with this one would just create an incredible first impression to that client. Say your drone crashed, you're ready to go, you're prepared, you can continue shooting. That to me is priceless. And I was able to actually get this one here refurbished for only 300 Canadian dollars after all of my expenses, and that is huge to me. I can still continue using the same remote that I have here. And yes, while you do lose out on some features like the active track that you have here, I don't really make use of that because I've already learned how to do it all myself with the remote control, like manually. So really, for me, it's close enough, and that loss of bitrate isn't enough of a deal to me for the savings that I get with this drone. You can still totally use it professionally. I have shot some stock videos with it. In fact, I've shot stock videos with the original DJI Mavic Mini, and those still sold. Those still had perfectly fine quality. It has a tiny sensor in that thing, and if that's good enough for stock video, then so is this for my business.
Good enough.
So which one do I recommend to you? Honestly, I wouldn't recommend this one brand new unless you really want something that's new, because you could get this one refurbished or used for around the same price. Now, if you want something brand new, totally go for this one because it's cheaper than this one. You can't even buy this one new anymore because the DJI Mini 4 Pro is already out and it's much more expensive than this one. But if you get this one refurbished, it's still much cheaper than getting this one refurbished. So I would recommend that for the beginner, not a brand new one of these things, and this for the professional user. I hope you learned something new from this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, be sure to consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.